Well, hello and welcome. I'm going to start recording this presentation for the people that couldn't attend. So thank you very much for being here today and watching the presentation on the strategic plan. You will learn about the emerging priorities, key strategies, and plan for the Latino Outreach Program for the National Alliance of Mental Illness of Western Nevada. So I would like to start with, who am I? My mission is to empower, advocate, support, and generate change for underserved populations. This is not only my mission, but 15 years of my professional work. I started to volunteer for NAMI Western Nevada about a year ago. Shortly after I started to volunteer, the executive director offered me a contract to work as an intern to help them with a new goal for the organization, which was to reach the Latino community of Carson City. So who are they anyway? NAMI Western Nevada's mission is to improve the quality of lives of individuals living with mental illness and their families through support, education, and advocacy. Their vision is to advocate at the county, state, and national levels for non-discriminatory access to quality healthcare, housing, education, and employment for people with mental illness. Their values are to educate the community about mental illness, eliminate stigma, develop of services for people that have a mental illness in rural Nevada. NAMI Western Nevada opened its doors on January 2014. This was a result of passionate people that saw a need to help people with a mental illness in Nevada. The reality is that Nevada ranks 48 for adult mental health services and 51st of youth mental health services in the country. Nevada has the highest percentage of youth coping with severe major depression, which is 12%. The national average was 8.7%. Knowing the current difficulty Nevada residents have in accessing services, NAMI considered another group in the community, which is a large minority population that has been overlooked, and that is the Latino population. The Latino population encompasses over 40% of the community in Carson City, but utilizes mental health services at a substantial lower rate due to the lack of understanding surrounding mental illness, cultural stigmas, and access to services. Maintaining a stability in high stress events for groups of underserved populations will improve the lives of those with a mental illness conditions and their families, as well as reducing the usage of limited services due to the limited services. We conducted a needs assessment in Carson City, and that's what created the Latino Outreach Juntos Edificando Esperanza. The intention of this executive summary and the creation of the strategic plan is to establish priorities, improve functions, and center the energy of the Latino outreach. The summary will analyze through an environmental lens the strengths and weaknesses we have and evaluate internal and external threats to identify the capability priorities of the outreach program. The information will set an action plan to reach the Latino community in Carson City, Nevada. The considerations to establish these priorities will improve functions in the center and center the energy for the Latino outreach are the corporate strategy, which will analyze NAMI's identity with the Latino community. Our business strategy, which will evaluate strategic alliance with other organizations to reach Latinos, and our functional strategy, which will examine resources in reaching the Latino community. NAMI Western Nevada has 6 bilingual staff and bicultural staff. We recognize the input of all of our bilingual staff is essential to consider, but only 2 out of the 6 were available to contribute to this analysis. Then we identify key stakeholders of Juntos Edificando Esperanza. The first one that we have is Laura Ñañez, which is the executive director, Linda Porsick, which is the education director, Laura Chavez, which is the Latino outreach coordinator, and myself, Claudia Manzano, an intern. We met via Zoom to deliberate and provided information about the program. We discussed the identity, resources, and alliances with the Latino community while considering the internal and external influences to identify the strengths and weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of the program. The following analysis that I will present to you is a result of these dialogues. As a group, we deliberated about a SWOT analysis. We agreed that having a bilingual staff was the biggest strength. Additionally, these staffs and volunteer members have ties with the Latino community. Together, we agreed that the areas of threats are that some of the social services still do not know about NAMI services offered in Spanish. Also, the Latino community in the state are afraid to use social services. And the Latino outreach coordinator is not well versed in new technology. Then we took a look at the SWOT analysis and went into a deeper analysis and noticed what needed and we desire for the Latino outreach program. We evaluated and concluded that the strengths opportunity strategies and the strength threat strategies can help us determine the needs and desires of the program, knowing that these would help us divide into identifying strategy priorities. As a group, we established that the strength opportunities are the bilingual and bicultural staff and volunteers, and the staff members have already or are already serving the Latino community locally. The SD strategies will support the efforts in reaching and establishing NAMI as a services provider in their own language. We can also start collecting data on how they heard about our services. Then we had a dialogue about the strength threats strategies, which were identified to be some of the social services agency may not know that we have Spanish-speaking staff and volunteers. The Latino community in the state are afraid to use social services. And the Latino outreach coordinator is not well versed in new technology. Then we discussed what was feasible to accomplish and determined that it was advertisement and professional development. And these would be feasible, and there was a third one, but the third one will not be included in a strategic plan at this time because we felt that the third priority would logically be cultivated after we worked on these two strategies, After the deliberations, we worked together and compiled capability assessments. Since the capability assessment would provide more relevant information about our performance as an organization, these are the results of the current capability assessments for the organization. Notice that we have more of the pluses, which are already existing, which is a strength for us. But before we actually went into an action plan, we wanted to do a pipeline, both of the properties, to see if we needed new people or practices, or we already have existing people in practice. And to answer some of the questions like what talent or people have and we can identify, who can be executed by this priority, what potential practice can we identify that we can help us realize this priority, And what's the likelihood of attaining and supporting this priority? The first one that we came up with the pipeline of the advertisement, which again, bicultural and bilingual staff came as a strong a strength for us. The second one, the second priority collected told us the environmental direction. And this was the focus is for the professional development. We started our planning process after we identified this pipeline using milestones and benchmarks. Using SMART goals, we divided these priorities into two. The first priority we'll achieve in a year, and the second in a 3-year development. The first strategy, of course, is the professional development. We plan to focus on incrementing the skills of our Latino outreach coordinator. We benchmark activities in a 3 and 6 month and 1 year process to achieve this by May of 2020. The second strategy will focus in advertisement. With the advertisement plan, we will be able to measure, collect data about the effectiveness of reaching the Latino community in Carson City. And it will also inform us about the community and the services that we provide in Spanish for the entire community. Within the process, it would allow us to evaluate and measure, and it will help us to increase communication with Latinos. Additionally, we can evaluate each year our success and determine our challenges. As we know, NAMI Western Nevada is passionate for equitable services for all individuals that experience mental illness and their families. NAMI's mission, vision, and values are aligned with the ambitious goal in providing services to the Latino community in Western Nevada. NAMI's position about providing services in Spanish because of all the anti-Latino attitudes in the States are a paramount of importance. Reflecting back on all of this strategy, I found Martin Luther King's quote that said, "The first question which the priest and the Levite asked, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? But the Good Samaritan reversed the question. If I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him?" I leave you with this thought for future contributions in the Latino Community Outreach Program. Thank you for taking the time to review the strategic plan. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Crystal.
I just wanted to applaud you on your presentation and how you utilize the data to, really show the concern and the need within the Latino community. 1 in 10, 1 in 5, just the culture of mental health within the Latino community and how it is very hard for them to reach out. And so we need to outreach to them. I really like the SMART goals. How you do the first few months of the first year and then annually. That was a great plan, and they are measurable. That was laid out very, very nicely. I just want to applaud you on your presentation. Good job.
Thank you.
I'm excited.
Thank you, Crystal. Anyone else?
Hi, Claudia. This is Natalia Torres.
Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to say, just like as a new volunteer of NAMI, this really helped me really understand the goals that we're trying to achieve as far as like the Latino community outreach goes. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. I look forward to working with you and collaborating in this outreach program. So thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, I'm going to stop recording so other volunteers and the board have an opportunity to review this summary. And if you You guys can always call me if you need any further assistance, okay? Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you.